Yes, people, we are back live. We are back live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube for another Sarcasm City TV special. And for those that haven't seen the Sarcasm City TV specials before, it's where I go one-on-one with the biggest and best content creators in the game. Bear with me. So yeah, like I said, the biggest and best content creators in the game. And this show is all about giving the biggest and best content creators their flowers. That's what it is. Number one, giving them their flowers for all the great work they do, and also talk about their beloved football club as well. So this person's making not their debut on their channel, but the debut on this very show. And I could wax lyrical for 5, 10, 15 minutes about this person I'm going to introduce. First and foremost, your favorite content creators, favorite content creator, without doubt. Anybody who is your favorite content creator, he's worked with. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that they just know him, he's worked with, he's done a regular show with him, or a regular show is happening currently. First and foremost, does big things on his own channel, covering his own football club. That's why you see him working with his beloved football club. First and foremost, he's on whatever astronomical number he is on his own channel, one of the most hardworking, one of the most consistent. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't even just cover football, also covers F1. So let's get that out of the way first and foremost. You see him on DR Sports. You know what I'm saying? You've seen him on, obviously, the Big Six, which is one of the most popular shows without doubt. You'll see him work with a Rants. You'll see him work with an Expressions too. And on top of that, a great eye for talent, because he created the show. He put together the show I'm involved with that gets asked about the most in Battle of the North. Big up to Hassam, big up to Daps as well. And even on top of that, on top of all those things, you may see him on your TV screen. You know what I'm saying? You might turn on your Skybox, you know what I'm saying? Turn on your Fire Stick and also see him, like I said, on your TV in the sheepskin coat on a regular basis. And just recently, people, he was on 5, obviously, on Rio Ferdinand's channel with Danny Murphy. And like I said, I can list a list as long as your arm in regards to accolades, and just outside of all that as well. A great content creator in terms of hilarious done and engaging as well. Easily one of the most engaging. And that's like why I said he's one of your favorite content creators. No, your favorite content creators, favorite content creator. So got welcome to the Sarcasm City TV special. Man like Matisse is in the building. Yes, family. What are you saying?
God damn, brother. God damn. Listen, if you told me that you were going to introduce me like that, I would have brought tissues and cried and wept and fucking wept, fam. Shit. Brother, I love you, man. I love you. Fuck. That was touching, fam. Shit. God damn.
Yo, it's only right, man. You know what I'm saying? For all the work you do, you know what I'm saying? And man has to give you credit. You feel me? And like, man has to fully give you credit for what you've done and how you kick down doors and the way and manner in which you do it as well. That's legit what it is. This is why you're going from strength to strength. I'm saying you do big numbers, big views. And like I said, everybody works with you. There's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying?
I need to come up to Manny and give this guy a hug, man. Shit.
It's only right, man.
Oh my god.
It's only right. Sarcasm TV special. So welcome, man. And it's only right I give you the intro. You know what I'm saying?
Pleasure, brother. Like, honestly, me and you, yeah, we go back to Twitch back then when we were doing our weekly show there. A lot of people won't know, but some of the jokes we were running on that Twitch, I wish we could still get it done. But obviously we got Battle of North now as well. And it's just mad busy. But that show on Twitch was one of my favorites, man. Just running jokes, not even talking about football half the time, just saying whatever we wanted to say, topics, talking about girls, talking about whatever, the common topics of the world at the moment.
Affairs.
Bruv, even some robotics got involved and
it was all mad. That show was crazy. If you was there them times when me and Matisse had the show on Twitch, it was crazy. Like he stated, we went beyond sport. You know what I'm saying? Talking about jobs we used to do and all types of shit. To the
Saj in the background trying to get involved.
Yeah. Big up Saj, man. Every time. That was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. It really was. Big up to everyone in the chat. You lot, make sure if you're watching live right now or watching this back, hit the like button on the video. Make sure you do so. Hit that like button. Over 50 of you lot in the building. So let's get up to 40 likes. Please share this across all of the socials as well. And on top of that, subscribe to the channel, Sarcasm City TV. It is rolled to 7K. So hit the subscribe button. And Matisse's channel, the link is in the title, people. So you click the link, for Matisse's channel, you know what I'm saying? And it will open up a new tab, take you over there to his socials. And like I said, you see him on his own channel. You'll see him on Big Six. You'll see him on DI Sports. You'll see him with rants, you know what I'm saying? You'll see him on your TV screen. You'll see him on Instagram. I'm saying do ads for the food box. You know, I love that. 20% off. I'm saying, and working with his beloved football club as well.
Let me not shout them out because the deal's over. So.
And the deal's over. We won't, but it's still, you know what I'm saying?
It's there, but the deal's over.
It's still on the list. It's still
no
on
more
the
free
list.
advertising.
Yeah. No more. That's why I didn't mention him by name. You know what I'm saying? I know how this works. They got to drop the bag. And I forgot, how could I forget as well, Mully H, the guy who coined the phrase, lateness is greatness. That is still
just trying to protect my people.
The content creator world.
Just trying to protect my people. Do you know what I mean? Back again, and I see Flawless on that show. You know what I mean? Being big him up. Do you know what I mean? I see you on there. I just seen a nice little clip of them not pushing the table forward enough for Zara.
Yo, that shit's hilarious, yo.
See Flawless shouting out the producers, yo, get that table move forward. Do you know what I mean? Push that shit
forward, man.
Push it.
Man. You know what I'm saying? You know he's got small limbs, man. Push the table forward. Big up to Zara as well, like 110%. But this is it. Lateness is greatness as well, which you lot will hear me use all the time. And I always say, word to my brother Matisse, lateness is greatness. So it was only right that this show was late. It was. So big up to everyone in the chat. I see all of you lot as well. But yeah, get your questions in, people, because you see from the title, Frank Lampard back as interim. What is going on at Chelsea? And of course, if you super chat people, we'll get straight to it. But we'll start there. Frank Lampard back as interim. Talk to us, Matisse.
I likened it to from the beginning, right? Because it was Lampard, then it was Tuchel, then it was Potter, and then it was Lampard. And I liken it to, Lampard is like your crush at school. You've known her for a long time. There's a lot of history there, legendary status. Do you know what I mean? Go back way when parents know each other, gone to each other's parties. It didn't work out. So now we marry our wife. Tuchel is our wife. This is where we're meant to grow old and die together. We're winning trophies, having kids, loving life, doing what we do. Do you know what I mean? And then suddenly you cheat on your wife with a catfish. You cheat on your wife with a catfish, an OnlyFans girl. Do you know what I'm saying? You cheat on your wife with a catfish and you end up with Potter, right? And it's not what it seems. It's not what it appears. Things go left. People start cussing. Do you know what I mean? People start pushing each other to the limits, taking us to places we've never been before. Next thing you know, we're 11th. The catfish runs your money dry. Credit cards finished. Barclays are ringing your phone. NatWest won't take you. Santander, Dave, shout out you. Finished. Yeah. Game over, brother. Yeah. Now we're back with our crush from school. And it's nice. Everybody's happy and, it's good to see you again and haven't seen you in a long time. How's it been? What have you been up to for the last 10 years? Cool. She's glowing. She come to the press conference with her hair all darkened and thicker and no wrinkles on her forehead. And clearly she's putting her SPF on and she's doing her skincare routine. But we all know how this goes, brother. Yeah, we've been here before. This cannot last. This cannot last, brother. This is an interim situation. This is a go back to somebody that you're familiar with. Listen, it's going to be great. It's going to be a short spell, happy-go-lucky. But if this becomes permanent, oh my goodness, I will lose it. But right now it's interim. Keep looking for your wife. Do you know what I mean? Search, interview, do what you got to do. And then sort yourself out and be serious because you're getting old. Do you know what I mean? You're getting old. And that's how I see it. That's how I summarize this whole situation, to be honest. It's a mess.
All right. Do you worry, though, because you mentioned it there, as long as it's not a permanent thing, you're like, okay, I kind of understand it. Are you worried if he manages to get some good results, that he could get the job permanently?
I'm at this position where it's like, even if he does an incredible job, he shouldn't be able to get it permanently because we should already have the contract signed for the new manager. Like, don't wait to the Champions League final. By that moment, we should already have another manager. So unfortunately, we would already be contracted to somebody else legally and binding. So there is no way out. And no matter what you've done, unfortunately, we're just not going to be able to get into that emotional place and take you in because we just can't. We've already hired a manager. That's how it should be. To stop the fan pressure, to stop the conversation, to stop people in the ground getting too ahead of themselves. Just get somebody in the next couple of weeks, have them announced for the summer so all the players know what's happening. Frank Lampard knows what's happening. The fans know what's happening. And then whatever happens, happens. If he done the unthinkable and won the third, it would be wonderful. It would be Di Matteo. It would be beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Legend of the game, picks up 3. We love it. But next season, pre-season, we're serious. We're going with a top coach. We're going with someone that's definitely going to improve the young players, somebody that tactically knows what they're doing, not learning on the job, not pissing and farting around. We're here to be serious, because next season, if we're in 11th, it's a long day for everybody. Everybody. It's a long day for everybody. Todd Bowie, you see all these little appearances that you're making at the stadium, walking up and down King's Road. Stop that. Stop all of that. You're going to have to go around the back entrance. Yeah, you're going to have to go around. You're going to have to go around the back. You better find yourself on the district line, Earl's Court. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to find your way over there, because you're not going to be able to come down King's Road and walk around in a suit anymore. If we're in 11th. Do you know how mad it is that we're 11th, bro?
Yeah, that is crazy that you and I are 11th. 100%.
I saw a stat, that if we want to equal the same points tally as Lampard when in his first season, he would have to win every single game until the end of the season just to equal the points tally he got when he got top 4 with the young players. How mad is that?
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's nuts, bro.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Nuts.
So, nah, bro. It can't happen, bro. No way.
What you're saying there logically makes sense. You know it. I know it. Whether you're a Chelsea fan or you're a rival fan, you know everything you just stated there makes sense. Could you see it happening, though? You know what I'm saying in that? Could you see it where... This guy, why are you looking at me like... this guy. If it does go well, do you trust this board? Can you say categorically, you know what I'm saying, bombastically, or the articles, as you love to do, will not give that man the permanent role? Can you say that with chest? That you trust these men not to do that? It's like, really? Genuine question.
Can't see shit, bro. Can't see anything. Can't see anything, bro. Bro, bro, if he does that, he's not serious. He's not serious. He's not serious. You don't spend 600 million on all of this young talent to hand it to a rookie. Yeah, this is not Formula One. Like, this is Mercedes. This is Red Bull. We're not gonna bring in De Vries or Sargent or Piastri or Mazepin, Latifi. Anybody who watches Formula One will get the references. This is big drivers we need. If you're gonna drive the car, if you're gonna drive steady the ship, it needs to be somebody who has experience at the top level and that is doing things at the top level, elite level, that can be respected for over a long period of time. I'm not trying to hear this honeymoon period, legends back. Lampard, I looked up to you when I was younger. I used to watch your goals on Premier League years. I'm not trying to see that. This is gonna last. The honeymoon period is gonna be here for a while, and then after the honeymoon period, you're gonna actually have to really, actually, seriously respect each other, respect each other's tactics, respect each other's approaches, respect each other's man management, respect how he handles you publicly, interviews wise, privately, discipline wise, motivation wise. All of these things come into play with a top manager. It doesn't come into play in the early stages, in the honeymoon period. I think we'll beat Wolves tomorrow. I think I think we will. I think they'll get a kick up the arse. They'll be inspired by the fact that it's super Frank. A lot of them, would have watched them when he was younger. It would be refreshing. There'll be no Bruno in the house. Do you know what I mean? Saying that this is his first time picking up a lineup and whatnot. We don't have a Brighton legend. We have a Chelsea legend. This is definitely a big difference. However, when that stardust is finished shining and we go back to just normality, when you finished the early 6 months of the relationship, you know what I'm talking about, Flawless, bro. After the first 6 months, it's real now. Like, you're really here all the time, bro, every day. Bro. And it's like, is it real now? Do you know what I mean? Yes. Is it real now? Is it real? So, this honeymoon period for Frank Lampard is going to be nice. Hopefully, it lasts as long as possible. There's not many games left, but after that, we need to be serious, man. And if he hires him, he's not a serious owner, and that's as simple as that. It's an unserious individual. Yeah,
hey, big up to the Chelsea fans in the chat. I don't know why you lot.
What's he talking about? Start his morning. This ain't, brother. Lewis is saying morning. What's Lewis talking about? Lewis, it's 12:30. It's afternoon, brother. PM.
I think his head's just gone. He says, "Hey, what a way to start my morning." We're talking about the beloved, as you say, Lewis Gargantuan Chelsea. Innit? So big up to Victor and all the other Chelsea fans in the stress. I mean, in the chat, stressing like it's not my fault. What's going on? Big up to Dana. I see you as well. Says big up from Trinidad. Matisse, we're in the mud, bro. See, man, even saying it from the Caribbean islands. Love all my people from the Caribbean watching. I'm saying large up to you from Trinidad as well. Big up to Ram also. But like I'm saying, like I stated initially, of course, without doubt, he shouldn't get the job. Do you trust his board though?
The trust is flimsy for right now because
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because they brought in Potter on a 5-year contract for £20 million release clause, plus his assistant and his coaches and his head of recruitment, Carl McCauley, Paul Winstanley, Bruno Saltor, or whatever the hell his name is. You know what I'm saying? And then they sack him 7 months in and have to pay him out 13 million, which, by the way, is a lot of money to pay out a manager. A lot of people just like brush it off because it was a 60 million contract, 12 million a year. So 13 million, basically next season's wages, doesn't sound that bad because it could have been a lot more. If this was Antonio Conte, he would have took us to court and we would have had to pay the whole bag. We would have had to pay out the whole bag. But obviously Potter has got some pride in him and he's got some sort of, moral ground. He's got some morals.
Some decorum.
Yeah, some decorum, some grace. And he understands that what he did was an absolute travesty and that he shouldn't push his luck because he was lucky to even get the job in the first place. Now, brother, they can't make another mistake. This is why they're taking their time. This is why when I first saw the Lampard news, I was like, that's a lot to take in. I'm about to do a Man United watch along. My whole chat's popping off saying, "Oh, Lampard, Super Frankie Lampard's back. Lampard, Super Frank, Super." And I'm like, this is mad. My club is actually a banter club. Like everybody in the chat is coming into this watch along for an El Clasico and telling me that this is really happening. And I was like, raw, like this is a joke. But then the more I deeped it, I said, you know what? It's a joke, but it's a joke that has to be had. We have to laugh because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And you're 11th. And we're not going to continue with Bruno. I didn't want Potter to carry on. I wanted him sacked after Southampton. And I also don't want them to rush the managerial decision because they've made such a mess of it last time. So the only thing to do is bring in an interim. And then when I was going through the names with Saj on the phone yesterday, he was talking about Rafa Benitez, Nuno, Bielsa, Gattuso. I said, nah. Just, you know what? They made the right choice, Lampard, because at least now
the Lampard appointment. Okay, go on. Why do you like the Lampard appointment?
I don't like the fact that we're in this mess. But if you're going for an interim and these are your options, you may as well go with Lampard. I don't want to see Bielsa or Benitez or Nuno or Gattuso as an interim manager. That is completely pointless. You may as well go with Lampard. Let me dip into my feelings. Let me dip into my vibes bag. Let me listen to the press conference where he speaks the Chelsea way. Let him talk about the standards. Let him say that the boys did not give enough. Do you know what I mean? Let him do it all. Let him go on the touchline with his suit and let him get his goodbye at the end of the season. And hopefully he goes on a semi-decent run. Keep it respectful. Do you know what I mean? No batterings, hopefully. Real Madrid. The only thing people will say is we've kind of let the Real Madrid tide go because let's be real.
That's what I was gonna get to.
Yeah, let's be real. Like he's not gonna dip and dive past Ancelotti. The likelihood of him getting past Ancelotti over 2 legs, the same Real Madrid that just spanked up Barcelona 4-0 on Wednesday, is slim. But if they're not ready to bring in the top manager, I don't think a quarterfinal against Real Madrid and a semi-final versus Bayern Munich or Man City is worth rushing a decision that could potentially mess you up for the next 2-3 years just because you're trying to save a Champions League campaign that, let's be real, we're not going to win anyway. Like the likelihood of us getting through them teams is very slim. It's
unlikely. It's very unlikely.
I think with the odds, they had us bottom of the odds to win the Champions League from this position because we're the worst team on this side of the draw. And this is the hardest side of the draw. So, and I completely agree with that. I would have us bottom in terms of the percentage of winning the Champions League. I think everybody on the other side of the draw, even though Napoli and Benfica would be my favorites on that side, I can see how the Milan clubs could get past them. We just saw AC Milan slap up Napoli 4-0 away from home. So our side of the draw is almost, impossible to get through in our current state in 11th. So for me, I don't think it's worth the risk of gambling on a manager just to save the Champions League when we're meant to be thinking long term, when we're meant to be trying to build properly. And that's what we need to do because the squad is a mess. We need to
years, not months. That's what they said, right?
Exactly. So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the appointment because it's all we can do. Bring Ashley Cole, bring Paul Clement, bring all of them. Bring the whole band. Joe Edwards.
Get the band back together, man.
Not Jody Morris, not him.
How come we are against Jody Morris?
No, leave him. He can sit this one out.
What happened with Jody Morris that you don't like Jody Morris?
He's not invited. He's not invited.
Why? Why? What have you got against Jody Morris?
He's not invited.
What is it? Why?
Do you know what it is with him?
Get to it.
Do you know what it is with him? Yeah. And listen, most Chelsea fans will suck off every single former player and every single former staff member that they've ever seen in their life, right? But not Jody Morris. Not for me. I just don't like him. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. There's something about him that...
he gives you the ick, basically.
Yeah, he just rubs me up the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? Just the way he was moving on socials when he was actually at our club, the professionalism, it's not there. He's just not a serious guy. He's not going to be a top manager, and he's not who I want assisting Frank. If I want Frank to actually go somewhere serious, give him Paul Clement, give him Steve Holland, give him people that have worked under the Ancelottis, under the Contés. Give him somebody serious. Jody Morris, listen, I respect everything he did for the academy, and he developed our talent fantastically, and he's got a lot of stakes and stock at the club and whatnot. Yeah. But I'm not matching him up with Frank Lampard. That's for me. It's not necessary. Like, Lampard's already worked as an academy coach. You're doubling up when you don't need to. You need to give a contrast. You need to give somebody who can give you help tactically, somebody that can take you to the next level. Jody Morris is not taking Lampard to the next level. He's not. I don't think that's even controversial to say. Do you know what I mean? He knows the young players, but nah, for me, I'm not trying to see that. I'm not trying to see that.
Big up to Timo, you know what I'm saying? Block 10, he's here repping Chelsea as always. Bless up for the super chat. He says, we've got Super Frankie Lampard. He knows exactly what we need. Thiago at the back. Mudryk in attack. Chelsea going to win Champions League. Hey,
Mudryk. Mudryk in attack. Chelsea going to win the Champions League.
That's what he's saying. I'm just reading the super chat, people. Chelsea fans don't get mad at me in it. I'm just reading the super chat from Timo in it. So big up to Timo every single time. You lot continue to get your questions in. Over 130 of you lot in here. Over 140, should I say, of you lot in here. All right, 50 likes. Let's bump that up. Let's get up to 80 likes, people. Make sure you do that. Like, check 1212 and subscribe to the channel as well, because I know a lot of you lot are new. Only looking for, let me click the refresh button here. 5 new subscribers, people. 5 new subscribers, girls. No, 6, sorry. Girls to 6,220. Looking for 6 more subs. So get us up to that subscriber mark, please. All I need you lot to do, man, when you enter the city of Sarcasm, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, man. Pay the toll, pay the tax. It's free. That's all I need you lot to do. But we'll go there, Matisse, because you just mentioned it. Mudryk, player you signed, I'm saying, for big money. Graham Potter didn't seem to know where to use him, but obviously it's really early. He's not had that much experience in terms of game time. Yes, he's played in the Champions League a handful of times, but he has come from the Ukrainian league. How do you look at Mudryk?
I didn't gas him. Thank God. You know what I mean? Thank God I didn't gas him, because
you didn't do the Lukaku thing, no?
Nah, bro. I don't know this brother. Genuinely, I don't know him. And the only way I got to know him was a standing ovation at the Santiago Bernabeu, but I didn't watch that game. And then I found out that Arsenal were going for him, and his Instagram story was littered with Arsenal prop and watching Arsenal games and watching Arteta and all of these things. So that's where the whole Mudryk player came to be. Mm-hmm. And now suddenly he's at the club, and I'm like, cool. As long as, first of all, when I found out it was 100 million, I was like, Lord Jesus, I flipped out. Yeah. And my viewership had to calm me down. My subscribers had to calm me down. They had to be like, yo, calma, relax, bro. There's more initials and add-ons, like we're gonna package this deal. Don't worry, like, don't get too angry, don't get too stressed. Then it's 62 initial. I said, all right, cool. Everybody breathe in, out. But I don't know this guy, and all I can say is that hopefully he's got potential. Hopefully he's got something to him more than just sprints and gym, and this is football. So the tech The tech is what I'm looking at. Do you know what I mean? I want the technical ability. I want the dribbling. I want the shooting, because some of the shots have been pass backs to the keeper. I want him to get time. I want patience, because I've been saying to my own viewers who've been begging for this guy to start, he has to start. You know, we paid a lot of money for him. Get him in the team. I said he's not ready. He's not ready. There's a reason why. Fair play. He's not. You know, Potter's not always been picking him. It's because he's not ready, and I can see it when I watch him in tight spaces, back to goal, first touch. They're very shaky. They're very hit and miss. So he needs to just settle down, take the limelight off of him. And I get it from a rival standpoint. Everybody's going to be watching him, right? Because we hijacked Arsenal. They got Trossard. He's banging in the goals, getting the assists. And we've got Mudryk. And, you know, we look like an idiot. But Mudryk is a long-term signing. And Mudryk is going to be judged after a preseason, next season, and the season after. Same way Sancho, and same way all of these other young players that come into the league. I'm not going to judge Mudryk after 2 months coming from Ukraine with all of the personal issues that he's probably got going on, and all of the development that I know he needs to be done, because I didn't gas this guy or overhype him or say, oh, he's going to be the next big thing, because he wasn't on my targets. He wasn't on my shortlist. I didn't even want him. I didn't know him. So now he's here. Cool. You know what I mean? Let's see what you can do. But I'm not going to put pressure on you when I didn't even know who you were. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. If you wanted an instant impact signing, KK at Napoli was your guy. Do you know what I mean? KK at Napoli,
spent the big money on.
That's who you spend, 100 million on, or 62 initial, and they expect shit right now. If we sign KK from Napoli, after what I've seen, even just this season, I'll be like, yeah, 100%, this guy's going to come in immediately and do his thing. Mudryk was playing at a very low level. Like the Ukrainian league, I saw the comps. He was ripping it up, smashing it up. But it's the Ukrainian league. Do you know what I mean? The level of opposition is not there. And it's not like as if I saw him hitting, 20 goals or 25 goals. So I'm not even surprised that his finishing is a little bit meaty and it needs a bit of work. This is a high level, the Premier League. You don't go from the Ukrainian league to the Premier League at his age and just, unless you're just something crazy, something generational. So, man, nothing really surprises me so far with him. And I don't really beg for him to start. I got Sterling. We got Felix. We got more experienced options at the top level. So I'm cool. I'm calm.
No, first. And big up. I see all you lot in the chat. Like I said, I will get to it. Big up Deluded Guna as well in the chat. Big up DG every single time. So when I need to actually get on one of these specials as well, make sure you follow him on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. And he's there. He said, make sure you grow the platform, hit the like button. And he said, Mudryk hype masterclass from Arteta. Tell him get more goals than White and Saliba. So yeah, man, DG here with the slander early, but big up DG every single time. Big up Ivan, who says, love this chemistry. Keep it up, guys. Hey, big up to you, Ivan, large up everyone that is locked in. But switching back lanes, I just want to revert back to the past because a lot's gone on with Chelsea. Graham's Potter sacking. From the outside looking in, I was surprised because I did a watch along for the Chelsea Aston Villa game and you lot got beat, and then there was talks about him being sacked. And I was like, what it would take. To me, it made no sense. I did not see him getting sacked at that point where I'm like, what? So a 2-0 loss to Villa and being 11th is different from being a 2-0 win against Villa at home and being 9th and him keeping his job. So I want to ask you, was you surprised he was sacked at that point? Or was you like, right, you got to go? Go on, talk about it. Bro.
He should have been sacked after Southampton, bro. Like, when we lost at home to the bottom of the league, Southampton, who then went on to lose to Grimsby.
Was it a loss or was it a draw?
We lost.
Did you lose? Okay,
yeah, we lost. Southampton have done the double over us this season.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think Leeds as well. Maybe, I don't know. No, actually, no. We beat Leeds at home. Yeah, we beat Leeds. We got 3 points out of 6 against Leeds. Mad. So, bro, when you lose at home to Southampton with a caretaker in charge, that team lose to Grimsby. And then he comes out and says they prepared really well tactically, and then the caretaker on the other side of the interview comes out and says, I didn't have enough time to prepare. Brother, respectfully, that Sunday following, I went to church, I spoke with the Lord, broke bread, left change in the bowl. I said that's it, it's time to cut ties, it's over. I prayed for forgiveness because the things that were going to come out my mouth on that Sunday was only explicit. more than you can believe. Like, I'm talking explicit. So from that moment that he wasn't sacked then, I started thinking to myself, yeah, we're not going to sack him. We're going to just leave him in charge for the rest of the season. And I don't know what came over them against Aston Villa, because funnily enough, the Aston Villa defeat was not one of his worst performances as manager. Like,
that's true. I watched the game, it wasn't.
Yeah, we should have won the game. We created loads of chances. We should have scored loads of goals. Should have won. But we lost 2-0 because we can't shoot and they can. And he made some mad substitutions. He brought Gallagher on instead of Mount when we needed a goal. He done freaky shit, but with the starting 11. But that's just normal. That's what we've come accustomed to. Unfortunately, he's been making some weird decisions the whole time. But in terms of being sacked, I didn't expect it. But then he got sacked the following day. You know, I was lying in my bed trying to relax for the Sunday evening. Do you know what I mean? Having peace, not
watching Chelsea.
Yeah, just, you know, I was up the same day, 5 a.m. doing the Australian Grand Prix on track GP in studio. I didn't even sleep the night before. You know, I was on a night tube at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting into studio. So I wasn't really trying to, you know, break news at 8 p.m. on a Sunday. But next thing I know, he's sacked, and I couldn't believe it, bro. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked, but I was relieved. You know, I sat there for about 5 minutes in my room, and a little tear dropped out of my eye. You know, it was tough, man, because I was like, wow, it's really over. Do you know what I mean? This is the worst manager statistically in our history. And I tried to give him time, and I tried to be nice, and I tried to be polite, bring my table manners, knife and fork, cutlery, whatnot. But in the end, he had to get sliced up, bro. You know, he had to get sliced and diced and dashed to the side, because at the end of the day, you can't just be in 11th and tell us that the XG on SofaScore is in our favor. That's just nuts.
Yeah, that's liberties.
That's just mad.
In the bottom half of the league. Yeah,
bro. Some of the reasoning was mad, bro. If you heard I think some of the personality traits was Ollie-esque. Tactically, no.
He was definitely Ollie.
Personality-wise, yeah. Like trying to keep everybody happy. Some of the things that he would say that you Rance and Aaron would all clip up and laugh at on Red Talk. It was similar. If I had a Blue Talk, we would have a lot of shit to say, because you can't just be going on SofaScore for the XG and telling me, oh yeah, you know, we lost, but look at the XG and that's life. And no, bro. There's not enough pressure on you. Clearly, there's not enough pressure. The contract was too big. If they gave him an 18-month contract, he'd be sweating. He'd be sweating.
He was comfortable. He was very comfortable.
He was very comfortable, bro. He's very comfortable. He had his feet up the whole time. Like when the only time he felt pressure was when there was rumors that he would be sacked. And that was around the Dortmund game and the Leeds game. And suddenly he started speaking about, we're going to fucking win the Champions League. And he started, you know, like coming up with some serious tactics to close out games. And, well, it wasn't serious, but, you know, he
switched to the back three as well.
He switched 3 different formations against Leicester. You know, things were starting to look like, oh, he understands this is a serious occupation that he's sitting in currently. Do you know what I mean? But no, then he just went back to being a silly boy, you know? So it is what it is. It is what it is, brother. You know what I mean? I've never had a sacking, where I feel nothing. Like, it's been a while since I felt nothing. He left, and I kept it moving. No goodbye video, no goodbye tweet, no thanks for the memories, no comp, nothing. Just cool.
You know how I know he's your Ollie? Because you used the key word that how I felt, which I was surprised about, because obviously Ollie was just as bad. I'm not going to get into who was worse, but he was just as bad, and he was at the club for longer, and you just know it's awful. But it was more when he left, relief. And the fact that you said that when Ollie left, it wasn't happiness. I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel joy. It wasn't glee. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't absolutely, it was just absolute relief. You know what I'm saying? I felt like the weight of the world at that point had been lifted off my shoulders, to the point where I don't even think I live streamed about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't celebrate it. I didn't
exhausted
about it. Yes, I was. I was exhausted by it. Yeah, I was. You know, exactly.
I wasn't even sure if I'd go live. And then I thought about the people and the response that they need and want at this time of grieving. And I said, you know what? I must. But I sat in my room for 5 minutes contemplating, do I really need to go live and talk about this sacking? Because I said, funnily enough, in the morning, up until that point, I had been very respectful. I said, please resign. And I was saying, please.
Saying that. You said, please resign, man.
Yeah. And people were like, why don't you just say Potter out? And I was like, He's getting a lot of abuse. He's getting death threats, emails. I don't want to be, parading around, Potter out, and yes, I want him to leave, but I'm not one of these people that can't tolerate a bad season. Like, this is bad and it can't ever happen again. But I'm not going to start, making it toxic, because I just don't, I don't get any joy out of telling a manager that, yo, it's time, you need to pack up your shit, especially how early it is. And I always try to give him more reasonings as to why he, just stay a bit more patient up until that Southampton game. I said, you know what? We just changed the whole squad. He needs time to embed them, to train them, to put down some serious fundamentals. It's a big squad to manage. It's not easy. And I was like, yeah, but that Southampton game just broke me, bro. Broke me. All of my persistence and prevailing had stopped at that moment. At that moment, I was like, I only see darkness now. Now I just see darkness. Like, we're done here. We're actually done. Because the thing is with me, I don't like to flip-flop on the manager thing. Like, if I say a manager needs to go, I'm not changing my mind. So people will get very frustrated with me because I'll take very, very long to get to my breaking point. But everybody has their own breaking points. That's why I always said on my channel. I said on my channel, I was like, no matter. It's funny because on a roundabout, I said, no matter where you stand, if you're in, if you're out, just know that over here is cool. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you that you should believe in this. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't. I'm just going to tell you that whatever opinion you hold, I can understand it. Because if you look at how long he's been here, I can understand why you'd be reluctant to want to get rid of him, because you just feel like it's too early. And if you don't, and you just already know this guy is not going to get it done, and you're not buying into it, I get it, because his press conferences stink. The tactics ain't tacticking, and we're not seeing any progress, and he's not developed anyone. So, and we're sitting in a shocking position in table like 10th. So I hear it. So I said, cool, everybody, we're debating it, we're talking about it, we're doing therapy, we're good. Do you know what I mean? I get it on this channel. And then the following roundabout, leave. Just leave. In 1 week, that Southampton result, 1 week, I said, bruv, just get out. Get out, bruv. I'm done. And everyone was like, yo, they've broken him. And I've got so much patience and tolerance, bro. My tolerance is through the roof. But with this guy, after Southampton, I said, nah. I saw Mason Mount up front. I said, nah, get out.
Yeah, Victor just said that. I seen that
out.
Mason Mount up top.
Bro, I held an emergency all-you-can-eat Chelsea that night. That's when you know it's a problem. When there's an emergency episode, like, because I'd already been debating with people, say Eunice, right? Everybody that's a Chelsea fan, and probably everybody will know Eunice, right? Massive YouTuber. I'd been doing a weekly show with Eunice for like 2 months, and he'd been telling me, nah, this is not the guy, this is not the guy, this is not the guy. And I'm always going to give my opinion. Like, I'm not going to just fall into whatever anybody else is saying. I was debating him. We was going back and forth, and I was like, nah, I don't believe it's the right time to get rid of him. There's this reason, there's that reason, there's this reason, there's that reason. But he went to the training session in person. He was like, no, I've seen this guy in person. He's not the guy. I'm done. I want somebody else. And I was like, cool. So we were debating it for a few weeks. And then after Southampton, I said, nah, I fully get you now. I'm done.
You're like,
so
it's a wrap. That was your breaking point, like you said. That was your moment. Everyone has it with each manager. Once a manager, the results get bad, everybody has it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's your club, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Manchester United, or whether it's Arsenal or Liverpool, whoever. Everyone's had their breaking point. You see now Liverpool fans with clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's starting to cause it. You see it. You see it. Not all of them, but
not
some
all
of them
of them
are at their breaking points. Some of them are like, yo, it's Klopp back in red, but that is a whole different conversation. You lot continue to bump up the likes. We're at 74 likes, man. Over 180 of you lot locked in. I know most of you are here for Chelsea tears. So yeah, man, make sure you bump up the likes, people. Get us up to 100 likes. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, man. I said 6,220. Only looking for 4 new subscribers out of 180 people.
Yo, come on, guys. Let's get it done.
You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
get it
Hit
done,
the
people.
Subscribe button, man. Make sure you do so. Make sure you do so. Ed says here, honestly, man, do you think Bowie has a plan? I'm seeing man's contact a ton of managers with all different profiles. Doesn't feel like there's logic there. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this?
I'm hoping it's not true. I'm hoping it's not true that he contacted Conte. I saw Nuno's name come up the other day. I hope it's not true. You know, Nagelsmann, Enrique, Poch, the guy from Sporting Lisbon. These are all fair shouts, I guess. I don't really know the guy from Sporting too much, so I'll probably take his name out of this, actually. I saw him against Arsenal. It was good, but I don't know him not like that. So But Poch, Enrique, Nagelsmann, I get it.
Yeah.
From the moment I start hearing names like Conte, Mourinho, Nuno, no. Simeone, if ever, you've lost me. Now you're tapped. Now, if he was to hire one of those people, now you're really on my bad side. Like now I'm really cussing you on my channel, because now you're taking the piss. Like you're really moving mad now, because you're moving very irresponsible, because you can't bring in loads of young players that need developing.
Yeah.
And bring in one of those managers that I've just named, a Nuno or Conte or like. So I'm just hoping it's not true and it's fake reporting. I think there's a lot of people right now that are trying to capitalize on the name of Chelsea. They don't have real sources. They don't have real connections. They don't have real insight, but they have articles to write. And the Daily Mail and the Independent, they have clicks that they need to fulfill for the month. And this is a very big opportunity to get to your quota. I know how the journalism game goes. Do you know what I mean? Every month you've got a certain quota that you need to hit in terms of clicks, in terms of reads, in terms of all of those metrics. And each journalist, depending on your following on socials, depending on your credibility, depending on your contacts, will have their own metrics that they need to hit every month. And if you're not in the loop with Chelsea, you're missing out, because we are chaos. We are the club right now that get the clicks. We're the ones that have the reach. We're the ones with the drama. So I think people that don't have insight or don't have any knowledge are running stories that don't really exist. And this is why, like, even when the people that do know some things, like Matt Law, he will go quiet for like 5-6 months. We think he's on holiday in the Bahamas or Barbados or something. And then as soon as somebody gets sacked, suddenly he's got the biggest Harry Potter thesis coming our way. He's got a massive documentary, Netflix coming out, Amazon, all or nothing. He knows everything. He knows what Kepa had for breakfast. He knows why Harry Potter was getting called Hogwarts behind his back. He knows that Kai Havertz wants
That's
Skittles.
Crazy, that
Kai Havertz likes Skittles and doesn't want a nutritionist. His love affair with donkeys. It's all coming out now. It's all coming out. So timing is everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad.
And just to clarify, people, because you lot think, you know what I'm saying, I'm so measured with my approach. Me and Matisse, we were supposed to do this Sarcasm City TV special last week. Ironically, when Graham Potter was still in charge, when I was doing all the special with rants and troops and everything, it didn't happen. One of the times it was on me. Other times, Matisse was working, obviously, because he'd be working extremely hard. And Matisse hit me up yesterday about this. I did not reach out to Matisse and go, yo, do you want to do this and talk about Chelsea? Matisse reached out and was like, let's do this tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, before you lot think I'm so measured and plan this. But you said that. Why are you so against the Conte? Let's start there. Obviously, he's just been sacked by Spurs. He's been at Chelsea before, been successful as well. So why is it outside of you lot having youth players that you're against Conte coming back to Chelsea?
Thing is with him is that I just don't like the way he goes about his I don't like the way he goes about his business at clubs. I get that he wants to win. I get that he has a relentless pursuit of trophies or titles or his way of playing three at the back, but he's not flexible, and he's not a modern day manager in my opinion, in terms of managing situations that are not completely going in his favor. When things are going not in his favor, instead of riding it out, which is what you have to do if you want to be long term at any club, at some point something is going to go not in your favor, that you're not happy with, whether it's the board, whether it's players, whether it's fans, whatever. But you need to be calm, composed, and have enough about you to get through that, so you can get to the other side. He can't do that. He can't do that. Like, at Tottenham, I saw him many a time, no flexibility in matches. You know, you're going out of the Champions League to AC Milan, a team that are one of the worst in the top 10 in Serie A defensively. And we're like 5th at the time. I know they may have moved up the table after recent wins, but it's a team that you can compete with. You're Tottenham, you've got Harry Kane, you've got Kulusevski, Son. Like, let's not pretend like as if you're some sort of, I don't know, some sort of Bournemouth
team with no firepower.
You're acting like as if you got like Dominic Solanke up top or something. And he goes into the game, and instead of trying to make changes to get himself a goal, he just persists with the three at the back throughout the whole match. He's bringing on defenders. Sheffield United in the cup gets knocked out. not playing Danjuma, playing Lucas Moura. Like, it's just mad decisions that don't make any sense. And it's like, he just persists with the same formation constantly. He's very, very, very toxic. And like I said in the pressers, when you're hearing him speak, the way that he's willing to drag clubs through the mud. Obviously, Tottenham is hilarious. Him explaining to us the history of Tottenham is hilarious. Do you know what I mean? I love it. But I don't want it at my club. I don't want that toxic behavior at my club. So he's already come to us already. I don't want to go. He's an ex. You don't go back. Do you know what I mean?
That's go back to the ex.
Yeah, nah. Like, you know, we won a couple of trophies, but it ended poorly, ended sourly. The whole Diego Costa situation, which I don't fully blame him for, because Costa did try to run in January in a title win and go to China and get his bag. But again, should have been dealt with properly so the market value of the player didn't drop, etc. He wanted Lukaku, he got Morata. Things happen, but the second season was toxic. And he still managed to get an FA Cup out of it, but I wouldn't want that back. And like I said, with the young players, he misuses, neglects not young players for fun. Look at Jed Spence. That brother's out in France now. Do you know what I mean?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'm not trying to see him. I'm not trying to see him coach young players. We've got a lot of young players with a lot of potential, and he is the last person that I want overseeing their development. He will kill them. He'll bring in Ashley Young and you know, Perisic and
Young, he wants experienced players.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Benucci and shit like that. Yeah, we're not doing that. Fofana's there, bro. Yeah, we're not doing that, bro. And we'll have the average age up to 35 again. Do you know what I mean? Trying to bring the average age down, man. We'll have it back up to 35 years old.
He will do that with Conté. And I'm guessing they're all pretty much the same reasons as to why you don't want Mourinho back at that club as well. Going back to your ex, being bad with youth players, not a modern day manager, toxic when things ain't going their way, the inability to ride things out when it's going wrong. There's many more reasons as to why you don't want Mourinho.
Well, Mourinho is a funny one, because I always like to I always like to take the nostalgia out of it, take the Chelsea hat off of it. If you saw a manager at Roma performing how he was performing and on the career path that he's on in recent years, would you go for him? No. So if his name wasn't Jose Mourinho, would you have him? No, you wouldn't. It's just because his name's Jose Mourinho that you want to bring him in, because you see that you want the third time round, you want the nostalgia,
the feel good factor, like you said about Super Frankie Lampard, man.
Exactly, it's nostalgia. It's nostalgia. It's the same reason why Poch is massively disrespected. If his name wasn't Pochettino and he didn't manage Tottenham and he managed a different club in the Premier League, but he did the same thing with a similar level of club, right? People would be way more respecting of some of the things I go back on and I talk about the development of that Southampton team that Liverpool robbed. You know, the development of Harry Kane, of Dele Alli, of all of these players, Alderweireld. If I said that another person did that, and it wasn't at Tottenham, and it was at a club that people didn't hate, and the match goers didn't hate, and Chelsea fans didn't hate, then he would be a candidate, because people would look at him and actually be like, do you know what? He's developed young players. Yep. He's managed in the Premier League. He's exceeded expectations at both the Premier League clubs he's been at with a small budget. Mm-hmm. And yes, he's bottled maybe finals or semi-finals, and people will look at him on that side of things. But I don't believe that a manager, just because they've not won, maybe he's won in France, obviously he lost the first title to Lille, but he's won the league and he's won the cup. But I don't believe that he's incapable of winning trophies. Like, I don't believe football works like that. It's just that cut and dry where this guy is unanimously going to become a bottler. Like, I don't believe in that. I think he was at a bottling club, and I think every manager that is a winner that's come after him has also bottled trophies, whether it's Mourinho, whether it's Conte. So no one's won there. So how can you be a bottler at a club that bottles everything?
That is true.
Like, that is true. Clearly that's not a him thing. That's a DNA. That's in the cloth, in the fiber, or in the fabric. That's in the washing up liquid of Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with him. When he goes elsewhere, I expect him to bring trophies in. And he did it at PSG. He won his 2 trophies. Yes, people will say, you know, everybody wins League O with PSG. Cool. But he still had to make sure it happened.
Yeah, he still did it. I give him credit for it.
Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? So I think he's on the edge. I think he's a risk, and people will be like, he's either going to go up to the next level and prove that he's a top manager, or he's going to fall. And if he gets the Real Madrid job after Ancelotti, that's his chance. If he goes there and wins the league and wins the Champions League, then all of this is for nothing. And people will finally understand where I'm coming from with Poch. If he goes there and he fails, then people will be like, yeah, you've had your chance now. You didn't do it.
Facts.
Hold that. So he's one of those guys that are on a thin line. I think he's on a line of being rated very highly again, or he's on a line of never being rated again. So he's like a gamble. Ancelotti will never happen
because Joseph here said it. What about Ancelotti? So let's say hypothetically Ancelotti leaves Real Madrid this summer and he is available and he's willing to come back to Chelsea. Are you with it? Are you not with it?
I'll take Ancelotti back in a heartbeat.
Okay.
You know, he brought probably my favorite Chelsea season following in terms of like the football. The quality of the football was ridiculous. Yeah. When we won the title and when we won the double under him, it was some of the best football I've ever seen at Stamford Bridge. We were slapping teams up for 6s, for 7s, playing beautiful football with Ashley Cole and, you know, Lampard and Malouda and Drogba and Anelka. And it was honestly it was wonderful to watch, man. We were slapping up everybody. It was one of the most convincing title wins, one of the best title wins. Like it was great. And he's such a great guy as well. He's calm, he's composed, but he's also got that authority and that respect. As soon as he raises his eyebrow, don't even chat to him. You know exactly what time it is. Do you know what I mean?
Thanks.
So he would be great, but for me, I don't see it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think people are saying I'm contradicting myself with the Ancelotti thing, not going back. Yeah, maybe I am, but I think the thing is with Ancelotti, since the difference between him, Conté and Mourinho is since Conté and Mourinho have left Chelsea, there's been a debate about them. You know, Inter Milan, yeah, you won the title, but then you come to Tottenham and you're very toxic and, you know, you don't really do very well with your resources. Mourinho has only been on a downward trajectory since he left. So that is more nostalgia. That is more nostalgia. That is more going back to, you know, what they did in the past.
If you take away Ancelotti being at Chelsea and you just have a look at his resume is Chelsea worthy. You know what I'm saying? His resume is Chelsea worthy, 100%. Go on, carry on.
Ancelotti didn't cut his mustard at Chelsea. Conte, in some ways, cut his mustard at Juventus. Mourinho definitely has got heavy Chelsea connotations, but there's other clubs as well. Ancelotti has been here for 20 years doing it. AC Milan, PSG, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Real Madrid, you name it, this brother's done it. So I don't need to go back to Chelsea. I can go back to what he's doing last season. He won the Champions League last season. He's performing at the top level. Last season, he won the Champions League. Mourinho is not in the Champions League. Conte's European record stinks.
Yeah.
And neither of these two players can improve youngsters. So forget Chelsea then. So I'm not being a hypocrite. Vinicius Jr., look at who developed him. Look at who turned him into the madness that he is. He had a struggling first season, and the next season, Ancelotti went bang, and Vinicius Jr. whoop like this. Valverde, same thing. Brilliant from Valverde. So Ancelotti has actually got stock where you could say, actually, yeah, these young players, and in terms of performing at the top level, I could see how he would make sense. But I don't think he's going to come back here. I think he's going to go to a national team or something.
Yeah, Fez. Hey, Joseph, big up for the super chat as well. Over 200 of you lot in here. Big up, man. Over 200 of you lot in here. Make sure you hit up the likes. We're still free shot of 100. Girls up to 120 likes, people. Girls up to 120 likes. That's all I'm asking for. We have hit the first subscriber mark. We have gone over 6,220. Get us up to 6. Yeah, look for 9 more, man. 9 more subscribers, people. Get us to 6,230. Hit the subscribe button. There's over 200 of you lot in here. I'm only asking for 9 subscribers, people. 9 subscribers. All I'm asking for, is Kai Havertz conversion rate. You know what I'm saying? Just 9. You know what I'm saying? Legit. Just 9 of you lot out of 200 people. Our 200 shots will probably score 9. So we're going to talk about him next. CFC Blue says here, big up for the super chat. Potter got more wins in the Champions League than Conte. It tells you all you need to know. I think something like that, because Conte's record in Europe is horrific. But speaking of that, I just mentioned him there. Kai Havertz, a man that from the outside looking in divides opinion in your fan base as to why I don't. Actually, now I do know why. It's to do with the Champions League goal. But the fact that goal alone seems to just get him a blind for poor performance after poor performance after poor performance is crazy to me. But what's your thoughts on him? There was the whole thing you mentioned it already in regards to that came out about the Skittles at halftime, where if he said once he's got his Skittles, he's more energetic and he's feeling better. Also, something about a donkey as well in regards to I think he said his teammates. Do his teammates call him a donkey? Or sorry, someone put the quotes in the comments. But yeah, your thoughts on those two things and just the divide that Kai Havertz seems to cause in your fan base as well.
I think it's time for this guy to go, man. I really do. I think it's time for him to go in the summer. Thing is with him, yeah, is he's got the talent, I think, to reach high heights. But whether or not and it's funny because he's one of these people that you would think has the mentality as well, because he's very calm, he's very cold, he's very composed. He doesn't get stressed about the big moments in the big games. He never is erratic, but he doesn't have that killer instinct. And he doesn't have that killer instinct in front of goal. He doesn't have that killer instinct in a game. I don't ever see Kai Havertz say, I'm going to take this game. I'm going to take this game. I'm going to be one of the top talents in Europe, right? Which is what he was meant to be. It's always Kai Havertz needs to play here. Kai Havertz needs to play there. Kai Havertz needs to play this many games. Kai Havertz needs this. He needs this player. He needs this manager. Too many excuses to be a top player. Too many excuses.
Okay.
And for me personally, you kind of have to build a team around him a little bit. He's not worth building a team around. He's not, because he's too inconsistent. He only turns up when the lights are bright, when it's a big game. When it's come to time to stat pad against the smaller teams, he can't seem to do it. Can't take his chances. His finishing technique is not there. After all of these years, he still hasn't improved it. And mentally, when I'm hearing him speak publicly in reports, and I'm not hearing that I need to work harder. I'm not happy with my form. I have targets that I want to hit. I need to improve this in my game. All I'm hearing is the fans are flip-floppy. The fans don't seem to know if they rate me or they don't. One day it's good, one day it's bad. Brother, nobody that has ever aspired to be a donkey or has friends that are donkeys, literally donkeys from farms, I don't see that you're going to reach the top level with that, because it's just not making this. The maths is not mathing in my head anymore. It's not mathing. He's got talent. And sometimes when he has a great game, you think, oh, wow, this is why you bought me. Nah, I'm done with it now. It's too much. It's back and forth all the time. Back and forth all the time, every single time. And for me, yeah, I can't take it no more, man. I need serious players in my team. Players that have the mentality and the hunger and the desire to be the best consistently throughout a season, not just when it comes to the big games, and actually want to improve. I don't believe that he has the desire to improve as a footballer. Maybe he thinks he's good. Maybe he thinks he's good enough. I don't see the desire to improve. From when Lampard left him and from when Lampard's come back, he has not improved as a footballer. He has not improved.
Wow.
So,
wow.
You know, you're in your development years and you're not improving.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. Do you know what I mean? Everybody will always find an excuse for this guy. It will be the manager. It will be, it's just Tuchel's playing him out of position now.
Because someone said in the chat, someone that was going to get to that anyway. So it's glad that you touched upon that in regards to the whole team's been out of sorts for pretty much the entire time he's been here. We're blaming him. It seems his excuses. Go on, carry on.
We're not just going to blame him, but he's part of the problem why the team is out of sorts. To this day, nobody knows what position he plays. Lampard now will probably tell us he's an 8. People have told me he's a false 9. He's a second striker. He's a second striker that can't shoot. Make sense to me. Then he'll give you a wonder strike off the crossbar and in the top corner from outside the box. Yeah. But when it comes to the 1v1s, he doesn't know how to shoot.
Facts.
Like, it's just not good enough.
Nah, he's a run. Talking about this, he's a run. Runs on there. You know what I'm saying? That was it. That popped up. He was saying he was a runs on there. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how you pronounce it.
This is how you become mediocre. This is how you become mediocre, right? Is you keep making excuses for players that you just can't get the vision of what you thought they would be out of your head. What they're actually doing and delivering on a frequent basis, you're not looking at that. You're looking at what the vision is and what you thought they can become. And you get so wrapped up in that you can't see reality. And the next thing you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years go by and you're still waiting to unlock this talent. Brother, I could be dead tomorrow. I don't have time for this. I could be dead tomorrow. I do not have time. You got one season to bed in, second season. Now we're in the third season and I'm still hearing people make excuses.
for a person that gets default option in the team because Lukaku fucked up last year, so he came in for him. And then obviously this season, Aubameyang is cut to the wayside, so he gets into the position again. We got Nkunku coming in, who's going to play second striker. So where's he going to play? If he's not a second striker, if he's a second striker and Nkunku's coming in, where's he going to play? He has no position because Nkunku's going to play the similar role he's playing. And Felix is still here as well. We don't know if they're going to sign him on a permanent.
I'm going to get onto Felix shortly as well.
For me, I just can't be asked anymore, bro. I really can't. I don't care enough. I really don't care enough to be doing it. I've seen enough players at Chelsea with the right mindset and with the willingness to improve, no matter who they're under. Right? We are a club that have changed manager constantly throughout our history in the last 20 years, and players are still getting better in that time. Players are still improving. Players are still turning up. So why are we dropping our standards now and coming up with all of these cute excuses? Maybe it's the new footballer these days. The mentality is not quite there. They're a little bit softer. I'm not going to fully buy into it. Cool. Might be a bit softer than they used to be in the days of Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira, but I'm not going to come down to your skittle levels and starburst levels. You need to be performing and you need to be trying to improve yourself as well as a footballer. If you're not going to do that, you're not going to put the extra hours in on the training ground with your shooting, then I can't be bothered. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you're wasting everybody's time at the end of the day because life is too short for this. You ain't got time for this.
No, that's fair. And do you think he's defended so much by some Chelsea fans because of the goal in the Champions League, that goal in Porto?
Probably, yeah. But if I'm to compare him with Mount,
no,
it's an uncomfortable conversation because Mount has been played out of position for years. Mount has been overplayed. Mount has played under 3 or 4 different managers, and this is his first bad season. Last season was very statistical, but at least he did something. The season before that was a brilliant season all round. And the season before that, in his first year in the Premier League, was probably better than what Kai has produced in his seasons in the Premier League as well. Yeah. But yet Mount is on his way out, potentially to Liverpool. And Kai Havertz is still getting excuses. Yeah. That's also bias. That's also bias for someone that cost a lot and has the silky, demeanor.
Silky German.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, he's not delivering. And I have to take a step back sometimes and think to myself, if you were from the academy, would you have got away with this? Would you have broke through? If you didn't cost anything? If you didn't cost us so much money and you weren't on such high wages and you were breaking through the academy, say a young player breaks through the academy. Yeah. Say Tino Andrin does what Kai Havertz has done in the last couple of years at Chelsea. Do you think Tino Andrin doesn't just get his arse sent to Huddersfield? He does. He doesn't make it.
It's a loan or he gets sold. Yeah, 100%.
100%. So if the standards are going to be like that for someone coming through the academy, because we can just sell you for a profit tomorrow, the standards need to be there for the players that we pay a premium for that are meant to be big talents. If you don't deliver after 3 years of being here, we have to start looking at you and thinking you need to move on because we don't have all day. This is a competitive environment. There are competition for places constantly. I don't want to hear that this guy needs a full season of playing in the 10 with the whole team built around him, 38-game season, and then we might get what we want. No, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that because there'll always be another excuse. That's the thing with certain players like this. There'll always be another excuse. It's time to stop the excuses now. You've got the best facilities in the world. You've got a very good team around you. You should be able to now show that you've improved as a player yourself, and you should be able to deliver enough for us to be able to see that it's worth continuing with you. And I'm not hearing it and I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing it and I'm not seeing it.
First, big up to Daniel for the super chat. Said Kai Havertz still has a match Tammy Abraham stats and he left over a year ago. Wow, that's a damning statement. That is a damning statement. But you mentioned him a few times. Moving on to another Chelsea attacker, another Chelsea player that divides opinion. I think even more so because he did come through Cobham. Mason Mount, not really been playing much. Well, he didn't play much in Potter's last few games in his reign. The whole contract situation, it seems that he's on his way out. He's been linked heavily with Liverpool. He's been linked with my club, Manchester United. Unfortunately, I've seen him get linked with Manchester City as well. Where do you stand with Mason Mount? Do you want him to sign a new deal? Do you want him to be sold? Do you think that the next manager, whoever that is, whether it's a Poch and Enrique, can save him? What are you telling me?
I think I'm cool with whatever the new manager wants to do. If that new manager is a top manager that should be in the dugout,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, let's say it's a Poch or Enrique.
Yeah,
Let's
say it's
hypothetically
you
it
know,
is.
say Enrique comes in and he says that he wants Mason Mount to stay. Well, then get him signed up. You know, Mason Mount, you're gonna have to, negotiate that contract. Maybe he doesn't want 7 years. I can understand that. That will take him into his late 20s. He wants to have more control over his negotiations. Give him a 5-year contract or a 4-year contract. Write this season off as a bad season, and we go again. Coaching, developing, getting back in the 8 position, and we go again. And you're a squad player. You've fallen. This season has to be taken into account in terms of your standing. You've had a terrible season, but it's your first bad one. Cool.
To Grizz as well.
You're now,
to cut you off.
Big up
Grizz
Grizz.
every single time.
You're now a rotational piece, and if you want to be a starter again, you need to fight for your place, and you need to level up. Cool, no problem. Mason Mount for me is a very good footballer. I say it every time somebody, even when I was speaking to Rants and all them time, and they'll say, he's just a road runner. He's just a road runner. I'm looking at Gallagher. That's more of a real road runner. Like if you want road runner, that's a real road runner. Do you know what I mean? For me, Mason Mount's got more to him, especially when he's at his peak, when he's at his best. When he's at his best, he's a very, very good player. But he still has things he needs to improve, and he still has things that he needs to fix in his game. And that's why I'm never one of these people that say you have to build the team around him. He's the Chelsea boy. He's the golden talent. He's the guy that can do no wrong. If you're not playing well, on the bench, develop, fix, no problem. I have no emotional I have no real emotional tie to the point that a lot of others do, where they're just like unanimously give him whatever he wants.
Big emotional tie to Mason Mount. Yeah,
give him whatever, because they see him as the reincarnation of Lampard. Lampard brought him through. Lampard gave him the captaincy. He broke through under Lampard at Derby and at Chelsea. He is the next person that took over the baton in the race, in the relay race, and he's now the next person up in the Chelsea sphere. Right, he's the next face of the club. That's how a lot of fans will see it. They got a very big emotional attachment to him. No problem. Me, I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem because I've gone on the days of me getting too emotionally attached. If a player's not performing and it's happening over a long period of time, and then they're struggling to agree a contract, well then unfortunately, cool. If you're on your way out, you're on your way out. This is a revolving door. These players will be gone and I'll still be here. These managers will be gone and I'll still be here. So I don't really care too much. I'm not going to lie. When it comes to Mason Mount, I would like him to stay if he fits into the plans of the next manager. And if he can agree and everything can be cool, then we can write it off. If not, then it's cool. Do you know what? Fair enough. We're probably going to regret it in some capacity, because I think he'll go to Liverpool and do absolutely fantastic. I've said it to Grizz. I think he suits Liverpool even more than he suits us.
Oh, he definitely suits Liverpool. Yeah, he's a top player through and through. 100%.
Bro, if Klopp gets a hold of him and puts him into that midfield three, and they get a Bellingham on the other side and they get a 6, I think their midfield is going to be brilliant. And if Klopp can get him back to the level that I saw in his first player of the year, not the second. The second, for me, I think it should have went to a defender, but he got it statistically. It was voted for by the fans. He's a fan favorite. Cool. It's a bit of politics. But the first player of the year, I will always stick up for his first player of the year. His first player of the year was fantastic. He was by far and away the best player. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, honestly. If he gets back to those standards at Liverpool, then I think Liverpool will have a very, very good player, and he'll do very well, and he'll have a very good career with them. But listen, I'm not going to cry about it. I'll say that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to cry about it. I'll move on.
That's all you need to know. So outside of the new manager coming in and say they want to keep him, if it was up to you, would you give him a new deal and keep him, or would you move him on? So you're building the squad. Would you move on Mason Mount this summer?
I think it all depends. I'd have to have a conversation with him, because I feel like the personal side of it is more important than what I see on the pitch. I like I said, in my opinion, I think he's a talent. I think he's a very good player. I think there's a lot to unleash there if he can get back on track. I think I'd have to have a conversation, and I'd have to determine whether or not he can handle the mindset of being in a competitive environment where his position is not guaranteed. Because a lot of these
could be a squad player.
A lot of these players that broke through under Lampard with the transfer ban were starters. Mount was a starter. Tomori was a starter. Abraham was a starter. And then as soon as the competition came in the summer, and it was like your place is not guaranteed, first of all, a lot of those players that came into the summer in attacking areas didn't perform. So I can understand why they feel disrespected. But also, this is Chelsea. You're always going to have competition. Drogba had Torres, had Shevchenko. Lampard had Ballack, had Essien. Terry had Carvalho, had Alex, had, you know, there's always going to be competition. Even Ashley Cole in the back end of his career, then Azpilicueta comes in at left back and wins the title and puts Ashley Cole on the bench. You know, there's always, or Felipe Luis was there as well. Sorry, it was Felipe Luis that was assigned from Atletico Madrid to compete with Azpilicueta, who I think he had just won a title at Atletico Madrid, and Jose Mourinho brought him in with Fabregas and with Costa. Like, bro, we're just competitive freaks. We just love competition, and that's how I like it. I think you can sometimes overdo it and it become unhealthy, but there has to be competition for your place. I don't want anybody thinking, or Mount thinking, that he's so good that he's an instant starter every week. You're not good enough to be an instant starter every week. You're just not. Like, you actually need competition. You need to be improving. You need developing. So as long as he'd be cool for that, then you can be in the squad, and then you fight. You fight with Enzo. If you can't pass like Enzo, you better learn how to pass like Enzo, because Enzo is passing like a madman. And I need somebody who can pass. If you can't tackle and intercept like Kante, then you better find a way to do it. Because if you can't do it, then that's my 8s. Kante will start, Enzo will start, my 6, and that's that. And then you'll be on the bench. If he can handle that conversation, that reality, then cool. If you can't, because Kante is going to sign a new contract, and Kante, when he's playing, is ridiculous. He just needs to stay fit. But if me and the medics can keep Kante fit, it's a long day. If me and the medics can get the injections in there, and this brother's all good to go, you know what I mean? Drug him up or something, bruv. It's lights out. Yeah. So if he can handle that, then cool. But if you can't handle that, and you, for branding or for, you know, England places, and you feel like you have to be playing every week, then it's a whole different conversation.
You're basically saying keep him. You would like to see him stay at Chelsea, but only as a squad player, because he's not of the quality, like you said, of Enzo Fernandez, of Akante, of say it is a João Felix in the 10, which we're going to get to, or an Nkunku, or
João Felix is a better 10 than him, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
For me, João Felix is a better 10 than him. I think for me, he's got the output, but it's going towards a Bruno Fernandes and not what it should have been, which is a Mason Mount. And I don't, you know me, I don't really rate Bruno Fernandes that highly. I don't really like Bruno Fernandes. He does what he does. He gets his output, but it's not the way I want my 10 to play. Me personally, if I'm having a 10 in the team, I'm not trying to have that type of 10. I would prefer somebody else, a different type of 10. I think for me with him, yeah, he would be a squad player based on the fact that this season was really, really poor. But he could then become a starter, but it would have to be down to him being actually playing really well and on form. Do you know what I mean? In his position as well.
I hear you, and we're going to touch on that further. But just to this, the Daniel who says, what top blues got to do with anything? Why did Manchester United, Liverpool, City considering Mount? I don't think Manchester United or Manchester City are considering Mount. We've heard no reliable sources state that. All this is, Daniel, is anytime, and I can speak from experience, anytime an English talent seem to be unavailable or he's on the move, any top English talent. So when I say that, any player who's playing for England, like on a regular basis, in the squad on a regular basis, has a high profile, i.e. a Mason Mount, you are going to get linked to Manchester United. Any single one. This is why we've been linked so much with Harry Kane, who's been on the move. This is why we've been linked with Mason Mount. This is why you'll see even loose links. Not even loose links. We've been linked with Jude Bellingham. Any English player with a high profile who seems to be on the move and is in. There's transfer rumors surrounding that player, he will get linked to Manchester United. Any single one. If you take, let me think of a player. If Jordan Pickford tomorrow was seeming to be on the move from Everton, he would get linked to Manchester United. It's easy. It's an easy, lazy, like journalism. Matisse mentioned it earlier in the live stream about clicks. One thing Manchester United do is we run this shit. We're a juggernaut. You put Manchester United, X player is linked to Manchester United, it's going to be news. 110% is going to be news. That's why I don't take any stock in Mason. Does Mason Mount currently start for Manchester United? Who is he better than currently? We have Casemiro and Eriksen. He's not better than either of those two. Is he better than Bruno? Debatable. So where's he going to play? Manchester City, forget about it. He don't even make their bench. Mine is Calvin Phillips. Who is Mason Mount better than in Manchester City's midfield? Somebody please tell me.
Yeah, that Man
He
City
did
link
stand.
don't make no sense.
That's
I
what I
think
say. Liverpool makes sense.
Liverpool makes sense. Liverpool
because
actually
he is
Liverpool's the
Henderson.
only
That
one.
makes sense. Like, let's come on, man. Like, we all watch we all have different opinions, but let's watch football with our eyes. Where Manchester United are trying to go, Mason Mount is not it. Like, come on. Like, let's keep it real. He's not.
No, I wouldn't advise Man United or Man City to sign him. Only Liverpool would I say that makes
Liverpool,
sense.
yeah, because of the clock way, I could see him being the Henderson replacement. I can see that. But C1 mentioned it here. He says, Matisse, thoughts on Felix, and do you want to keep him? So reports are saying that it would be big money if you were to keep him. But what are you saying?
I've always said since the day Felix came in, I'm not going to decide on Felix until it's over, until the loan's over.
Okay,
the loan is still here. So he hasn't done enough for me to be like, oh, let's rip out and pay 100 million. But at the same time, I've seen enough to think that there's something there. So we wait until the end of the season. If he turns up against Real Madrid and has a masterclass, everyone's going to be flip-flopping who said this guy's a bum, this guy's not better than, Mount in the 10, or this guy can't do anything, and this guy should not, if he goes and drops masterclasses against Real Madrid and puts us in the semi-final, and those shots that have been hitting the post go in, and that creativity that people don't see, or they don't see in the statistics, but I see just by watching him, and those little pointless flicks turn into a chance created that we score from. Those flicks that people disrespect, but those flicks that actually progress play a lot faster than taking 4 or 5 touches. If all that comes together and he drops masterclasses in big games at the Emirates, against Man United, against City, against Real Madrid, then everybody will be on his ass again and being like, yeah, we want it. So for me, I just wait until the end of the season. We don't have to decide now. That's the beautiful thing. There's no gun to our head saying we have to decide right now. Atletico Madrid are not looking for their money right now. They'll be looking for it in June. So right now, we just wait. And I also need to see what the new manager wants, because there's no point signing a player until the new manager comes in. We've already got Nkunku coming in. He's definitely not a priority. I want a DM, I want a goalkeeper, and I want a striker or
DM, goalkeeper, striker.
Right. Now that Enzo's here, I would want somebody to make those runs and be that striker figure, but a certain type of striker. I wouldn't go with a Vlahovic or someone like that. But in terms of priority, he's not a priority. So he would be a bonus. He would be an addition. It also depends on exits. If Mason Mount leaves, then there's a gap. Do you know what I mean? If Gallagher leaves, then there's gaps. If Loftus-Cheek leaves, there's gaps in attacking areas, or there's just gaps in the squad. But you have to get rid of these players first, because we already have too many players. And the new manager also needs to want him as well. If Enrique says that he doesn't want him and he doesn't need him, then we don't get him. You don't bring in a player that your future manager doesn't need.
First,
it'd be stupid to bring in Felix right now, and then Enrique says we don't need Felix.
I don't want Felix.
So I can't answer that question because it's impossible. We don't have a manager. We have an interim. So yeah.
Well, that is fair. And you mentioned it before we continue. Over 260 of you lot locked in. See, man, Matisse bringing, you know what I'm saying, the Matisse army with him. You lot, make sure you get us up to 150 likes. We're currently at 133. And hit the subscribe button. You lot have been doing it. We're at 6,229. You know what? 11 more. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to get to 6,240 subscribers, people. There's over 260 of you lot in it. I'm only looking for 11 subscribers. There's at least 11 of you lot watching right now who have not hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Like I say, Sarcasm City TV specials, where we have the best and biggest and best content creators in the game. Matisse in the building. Link to the channel is in the title as well. But you briefly mentioned him there. Romelu Lukaku. A lot's gone on. You know what I'm saying? A lot has gone on with Romelu Lukaku. A lot's gone on with Chelsea. It seems a match made in drama heaven. Where do you stand with Romelu Lukaku? It's looking like Inter Milan are not going to be keeping him because it seems it's not going well over there. Thoughts?
Get the fuck out, brother. Yeah? You see this Lukaku conversation that you're about to move with? Brother, my opinion will not change regardless. No. You're trying to be clever.
How am I trying to be clever? I'm just asking questions, yo.
Brother.
Romelu Lukaku.
Everybody keeps asking you about Lukaku.
Yeah, man.
My opinion will not change.
Okay.
At all. Leave. He has to leave, bro. That's it. He has to leave. When he comes in June, pick up the rest of your bags, pick up the rest of your stuff,
whatever belongings that you want to claim or collect, and, find yourself back at the airport, back to Italy, and just hang around until somebody picks you up in a taxi and takes you to your next club. Get your agent on it, find a new club. If the new manager, so I don't contradict myself, if the new manager wants Lukaku, I don't want the new manager.
Wow.
Yeah? If the new manager wants Lukaku, I don't want the new manager. I don't want you. You fall in the pecking order for me, okay? If you want him, I don't want you. You either want Chelsea or you want chaos and carnage. Pick one, yeah? Because this guy is too egotistical, too egocentric, and too dramatic, and too drama, and too limited as a footballer. Too, right? He's a great goal scorer, but he's a pain to watch. An absolute pain in my eye. He's the reason why when I go to the opticians, I cannot get laser eye surgery because I've gone too far. They said I'm a -9. They said they don't make glasses in that level. They said that I have to pay extra because we don't make the glass that you can see through. They said you need to go to a specialist because of what I witnessed. I don't want him anywhere near these young players. It's not extreme. Let me explain why. I don't want him anywhere near these young players with his attitude. The way that he carries himself and the way that he's acted at this football club, I don't want him anywhere near these very impressionable young players that we've signed. Andre Santos, Carney Chukwuemeka, Mudryk, I don't want him anywhere near them. And the second point is why I refuse to budge on this. He doesn't even want to be here. Every time there's a report or a quote that comes out, he says, I don't want to come back. I want to stay in Italy. I do not want players that do not want to be here. I am not a beg. I am not a beg. I will not beg you to play for my football club. You are not good enough. You are not Messi. You are not Neymar. You are not Ronaldinho. You are not Ronaldo. You are not Brazilian Ronaldo. You're not Kaká. You are Lukaku. Yeah? Fix up. You've never won a Premier League or a Champions League or a Europa League. You bottled it in the final with Conte. You are Lukaku. Yeah, humble yourself. I will never beg a player like Lukaku to play for my club. It will never happen. I gave him his prop. We gave him his love. He came back. All of the Chelsea fans were with him. They all sung his name. Yeah, we all bought into it. And this brother spat in our face and told us, hold that. So you can hold that explicitly, emphatically, bombastically, drastically. Yeah, elephantastically. Hold that and get out of my football club. And I will not change this opinion. And if he's playing for us next season, yeah, you will see a Matisse that you don't want to see. Yeah,
I want to see this Matisse.
You don't want to see this Matisse.
I do.
You
don't want to see this Matisse.
You don't want to see it. So he better go. He better leave, because if he don't leave, then it's gonna be a long season for everyone. Yeah. All right. That's all I'm saying.
Who's going? The thing is, though, you know what I'm saying, I was genuinely asking that question because you mentioned him, so it was like, all right, and he's going to be tough to move on because he doesn't seem he wants to stay in Italy. But he gets, unless you lot.
It's not hard, brother. It's not hard. Release him.
You saying release him?
Release him.
Wow.
Release him.
You saying release him? That's
by mutual consent.
Jesus.
Rip up the contract. Release him.
Release
him into the wilderness. The first week, we try and negotiate his exit. No one is going to purchase him because he's been overweight for most of the season. He's not being physically fit. Again, not serious, right? He's back at Inter Milan. They've been commenting on his fitness the whole time, saying that he's not fit. He hasn't been starting ahead of Edin Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez. And I'm meant to want this brother back. If you told me a striker can't start ahead of Edin Dzeko and Lautaro Martinez, why would I want them leading the line for Chelsea Football Club? A Chelsea Football Club that are meant to be going in an upward trajectory. This guy needs to be released. I've already calculated the mathematics of what it will cost weeks ago.
How much would it cost?
Release him. I think it was around 15 million or 20 million. Release.
It's more
Actually, let me recalculate it again. He's on 320. I might be wrong. He's on 325,000 a week. I believe his contract is 52. Oh shit! No, I'm way off. His contract is until 2026. I think. So let's just times that. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's about 50 million. I got that wrong.
50 M's?
Yeah, about 40 to 50 million. Release him.
40 to 50 M. That's a player.
Mutual consent. Mutual consent. Maybe we can pay off 1 year. I don't know, but we need to get it done. We need to
I
get it
said
done.
100 billion. Like, because Hector saying, I promise you, if you get Nagelsmann, Lukaku stays. Matisse has already said, you know what I'm saying, emphatically, bombastically, drastically, you know what I'm saying, all the articles. I'm saying, as the great man Ma has said, that if the new manager wants Lukaku, he does not want that new manager, even if that is a Poch, who is his first choice. I'm saying, even if that is an Enrique, who he would be a fan of.
The reason why Poch wouldn't want him is because Poch wants to press from the front. Enrique wants to press from the front. No manager that wants to press from the front will want this guy up front. Yeah. So those two are ruled out. Nagelsmann, I'm assuming he's inspired by the Gengen press. Yeah. He's German, you know, high tempo, high intensity. You shouldn't want him either. I wanted last summer Jesus. That's the type of striker I want. Now, obviously, I would hope for better finishing in general.
Of course.
But that's the type of striker I want. A striker that on and off the ball will contribute. A striker that can take people on, that can actually create chances as well. And not just be a service striker. I'm going back to my roots. I ditched my roots for Lukaku and I got slapped in the face. I was a person that grew up on the Agueros, on the Henrys, yeah? And even the Drogbas. And the Drogba, don't get twisted, Drogba was a very technically solid footballer. Brilliant hold-up play. He had his wonderful free kicks, his wonderful little back heel touches on the wide positions, and then wonderful crosses into the box for Ashley Cole to header. Technically, linking up the play, holding up the play for Lampard to score all of those goals. Lukaku is heavy touch, kicking the ball out of play at the poor innocent ball boys, throwing his arms up in the air. I'm not here for it. I'm not doing it.
All right, first, you're not.
Look at it. Even Alexander Isak at Newcastle, technically very sound. Very sound.
It'd be interesting to see the Lukaku situation is going to be interesting because he is going to be very tough to move on just because I don't think many clubs are going to want him. If he would have went to Inter Milan and he would have been balling out there this season, then that's an easy move to make, even if it's another loan deal. But I don't think they're going to loan him back. Somebody maybe somebody else in Italy. But you're at a point where would you take that loaning him back out and paying half his wages to anyone? You just don't want him at Chelsea regardless.
Anything. Yeah, 100%. Right. Whatever means that he's not in the squad next season, I'll take it.
Oh, Jesus. I'm saying Mix Mitchell said, what if he takes his Timberlands off Ma?
Yeah, there's Timberlands under the Timberlands. So
that being said, we spoke on this, so I know this. But Poch would be your love troops every single time, man. Love troops, he says. Flawless is relentless. I wake up and he's streaming again. Like of that wallet, man. Big up troops every single time. Hey, troops, man. I'm trying to get to the levels troops where you're at and where Matisse is at. That's why I'm working over here, man. Big up troops every single time. I did create a playlist as well for the Back Again podcast on the channel. So every time I make an appearance, the playlist is there, people. So make sure you click the playlist. You can see all the appearances I've made on the channel. Same for the Sarcasm City TV specials as well. And same for Battle of the North as well. There is a playlist for it on this channel. So any of the shows I'm featured on, if that's your favorite show, there's a playlist on it. So make sure you click the playlist section. But yeah, man, troops, trying to get to your levels and Matisse's levels. You feel me, man? Trying to be over there at Barstool, trying to be on Premier League show, you know what I'm saying, in the sheepskin coat. Like Matisse, you feel me? That's what it is. But large up troops every single time. But yeah, I know this because we've spoken. But Pochettino would be your preferred choice. Why is that? Because it is I get it, but it seems not very unpopular. But there is pushback in regards.
It's definitely very unpopular. Whenever I see polls, he's always getting the 5, 6, 7% max in the polls. Okay. Yeah, he's getting wrapped up with Nagelsmann and Enrique are leading these polls. And then there's a couple of others that will get destroyed on the polls. Pochettino is one of them. Pochettino is because I know him the best, right? Enrique, I didn't watch him at Celta Vigo. I didn't watch him at Roma. The Spain team, he hasn't managed in club football for 6-7 years. When he was at Barcelona, unbelievable. Treble, had them playing incredible football. Messi, Neymar, Suarez. But also, what's great about Enrique is he's going to command respect. I think he's going to be very clear in his principles in positional play. He's not going to, whimper around with what he wants to do. He's going to try and implement and I like that because it's security. But like I said, he hasn't managed in club football for six years or something like that. So I have a few concerns. But I think Enrique, the more time that goes on, especially when we hear about Lukaku comebacks and shit like that, Enrique will never play a player like him. So I'm calming on Enrique a lot more. I'm not pushing it because I don't see, a madness outside of that Barcelona time. Spain was decent. I guess the more I look at the Spain tenure, I think Nations League wasn't too bad. Euros was good. World Cup wasn't great, but I feel like the type of manager he is, he might be suited to more club football anyway, just because of the things that he's trying to implement. The team, you only see them for a few weeks in international and then they go again. But then somebody will come up with some other Enrique stat or some other Enrique point, and I'll be like, shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's back and forth with Enrique. But I think I prefer Enrique right now to Nagelsmann. Especially if the chat are telling me that Nagelsmann's going to use Lukaku because he had Poulsen, then Nagelsmann is already taking a red flag to me anyway.
Yeah, you've already said you're totally against that.
So Enrique, I can confirm Enrique has leapfrogged Nagelsmann in my estimations. Because I do believe that he will command that respect in the dressing room a lot easier than Nagelsmann as well, because he's obviously worked with some of the best in the game. And he's got clear instructions. He's not going to flip between systems and formations. And I would like to be a little bit more clear and precise with what we're doing. But with Poch, it's just I know him. I know him very well, and I've seen exactly what he does in this league with teams that have young players that need to develop and need to kick on to the next level. And we've got a lot of 21, 22, 23-year-olds that need to be developed and need to kick on to the next level. Their development is paramount. And if we can develop those players when they're 20 up until 25, 26, you say 2.5 years of Poch or whatever it is. And if he isn't delivering, the Premier League, the Champions League, at least you've got a top squad like you had at Tottenham, and then you go and get that elite coach and they'll finish off the job. So from a step-by-step basis, I think he kind of makes sense as that next step because he's got that Premier League experience, but he's also actually now dealt with the egos at PSG, the politics, and he's won some trophies, whether people like it or not. He has won. He has
definitely like people try and take.
They try to take it away. They try to take it away, but he has won trophies now. And I look at the development of Andre Santos and Carney Chukwuemeka and what he did with Harry Kane, what he did with Dele Alli, what he did with all of these Southampton players that got fleeced to, your Schneiderlins and your Wanyamas, to your Alderweireld's and, your Luke Shaws and all of these guys, so many players, you could just list them off that he's developed and put into another level. That's what we need these players to be developed. They need to be kicking on. And he plays good football. He plays good football. Do you know what I mean? He wants to play on the front foot and press from the front.
True.
He tactically, he knows what he's trying to implement. I saw tactically what he did against Juventus in the lead up to that Champions League final. Second half, he switched it to a back three, completely bamboozled Juventus and overturned that tie. He has made some errors in big moments, in semi-finals, in finals, playing Harry Kane. But as much as he should never have played Kane and he should have played Moura, let's not pretend he's the only manager that would have said, my best striker is available in the Champions League final, I'm going to play him. Yeah, most managers would have had that mistake.
He made a mistake. We've seen better managers do that. We've seen Pep Guardiola. You know what I'm saying?
Not play a DM. Exactly. Not play a DM in the Champions League final. So it's like managers are allowed to make mistakes. Absolutely. It's how many mistakes they make, whether they learn from their mistakes. And when you step back overall, did they do a good job? And when I look at what he did at Southampton, finishing 8th, and what he did at Tottenham, which is the step up, not from Southampton straight to Chelsea. Tottenham is the bridge. And he went to Tottenham and he put them in 2 title races and took them to the final of the Champions League whilst being at Wembley and having no money for most of those transfer windows because they didn't spend any money because they were moving and rebuilding the stadium. When I look at that, I say, yes, it's not perfect. He didn't win trophies, but he's shown that for me, he's ready for the next level up. And that's why Real Madrid are looking at him to replace Ancelotti. He's going to go into a top job. As much as people want to be disrespectful and link him to West Ham and link him to Leicester and jobs that he's just too good for. They did the same thing with Tuchel. He will go to a top team, and I assume and I think he's going to prove himself to be a very, very good manager. I think he needs that opportunity. But I'm also aware of the fact that he's not a perfect option. I'm not saying he is, because I know Chelsea fans are going to get straight into him from day one.
Be on his case.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be on his case from day one. Yeah. And he has to prove that he can, in those finals, in those semi-finals, make that jump and make that decision and get that trophy in this country. So he's not perfect, but I do think he deserves to be higher up the higher up the the chain.
People, like I said, people go over the top with the criticism. Is he perfect? No. Has he made mistakes? Yes. But we just mentioned Pep Guardiola, who most people would say is the best manager in the league and the best manager in Europe. And we've seen him get things completely wrong, in particular in the Champions League. We've seen him the final against Chelsea, which he should have. Bear in mind,
I've seen the thing is, the thing is with Poch is that at Tottenham, the 2 serial winners that have come after him have not won anything.
Well,
and it's like I've seen every manager make big errors.
That's what it is. People really want to use that against him, like that's solely him.
These little moments in time where a manager makes bad decisions, I'm not going to cling on to that and drag them down for it. It's the overall job that you've done. If you've done a very good job over a long period of time, and you've that Tottenham team that Tottenham team that he had was wiping people. I think people forget how good that team was. They were slapping people up.
And they weren't favourites for, let's not forget, people, they were not favourites for that Champions League final. Let's not act. Liverpool were favourites for that. Whereas you look at Pep with Manchester City, they were favourites against Chelsea. Let's not do that. So if we're going to criticise Poch for that, which is fair, let's criticise Pep. But then we wouldn't say Pep is all bad just solely for that. So don't say Poch. Does he have limitations? Yes.
How many times has Poch, like Nagelsmann's done what he's done at Hoffenheim and Leipzig? He goes to Bayern Munich, he wins. He loses the Champions League to Villarreal, right? He loses last season in the Champions League to Villarreal, gets knocked out. This season he's in the Champions League quarterfinal. He's won the Bundesliga. Are people going to sit there and try and convince me that Poch, if he went to Bayern Munich, wouldn't win the Bundesliga? I think he would.
I think
with Bayern Munich, so it's like there's not as much to split these guys as people want to make out.
Works.
How many times has Poch been in a winning club? Once, and he won. Whether you like it or not, he won. So most of the time, these managers, they don't win at clubs that they're not meant to win at. They don't. They win at clubs that they're expected to win at, and he's won at PSG. So, if he was, I just don't think that there's this massive. He's in a league of the Nagelsmanns and that's his category for me.
He deserves his shot to prove he can do it.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Nagelsmann got his shot at Bayern Munich and he won the Bundesliga. He fucked up in the Champions League massively, right? He made and Nagelsmann does make errors. He's not perfect.
And to LFC for the double, and he said he also lost at PSG. Everybody lost at PSG. We've seen PSG is very similar to when Matisse is talking about Spurs and every manager failing there. When you look at PSG, every manager has failed there and then gone on and left and done better. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Tuchel leave PSG and go win the Champions League. We've seen Ancelotti leave PSG and go on and win the Champions League. Poch went further in the Champions League with Spurs than he did with PSG. Something is wrong at PSG. Look at all the managers that are there.
But also, Poch never suited PSG. Poch wants to press from the front and play on the and he had the probably the front line that will do the least amount of pressing in Europe. Like the in terms of work rate, that front line is the most luxury front. It's a fantastic front line, but it's the most luxury front line you're ever going to get in the world. And I've seen many a time where individuals don't win the Champions League. It's systems, it's teams. So it sounds easy to just go in there and win a Champions League with these names, but it's not as easy as that because no one's done it. No one's done it. Tuchel didn't do it. Got them to the final, but couldn't get it over the line. There's a lot of politics and toxicity at PSG with Leonardo and all of the different people there, and that never suited him. That never suited him. I'm looking at what we have and does it suit him? And the team that we have or the team that we're trying to create with the players that I expect us to leave in the summer, the Aubameyangs will leave, the Ziyech's will leave. With the players that he's going to be left with, the Madueke's, it suits him. It's a team that suits him. So that's just how I see it. I'm not looking at a PSG team that we don't have and saying, oh, why didn't he do this? So he can't do this here. We don't have PSG's team. If we had a bunch of Galacticos, I wouldn't be asking for Poch. I'd be asking for a manager that deals with Galacticos. I wouldn't ever ask Poch to deal with a bunch of stars because that's not his remit. So that's where people get twisted. You see, they look at what PSG did and he failed there, and then they link it to us like as if we have PSG's team. He performs with young players that work incredibly hard off the ball and want to play a certain way, and he develops them and he has them overachieving. That's what he does, and that's what we need. We need to get back into the top part of the Premier League. We're not going to go. We're not going to win the league next year. If people think we're going to win the league next year, then I have bad news. We're not winning the league next year. We're not winning the league next year.
So you're looking at it in terms of what you have in squad, and you're like, all right, which manager suits up best, and that's the key thing.
And I'm not
saying Poch is the best of the best. You're saying for what you have right now and the situation Chelsea are in, Poch is the best fit. There's no point bringing in a Pep Guardiola to the situation you're in now. It wouldn't work.
To be honest, I'll take a Pep in any situation, because I just take Pep to just take him out of the market because he's just that good. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of he wouldn't suit what you have right now. No, I mean, he wouldn't be best pleased. I think he'd have a lot to say. He'd have a lot of changes to make. Do you know what I mean? It would take a lot of money because he's very particular. He doesn't really play around. But I think for us, like, I'm not saying give any of these managers 5, 6. No. If I was to get Poch, 2-year contract, brother, 2 years. You got 2 years to develop these players, 2 years to win an FA Cup and a League Cup, 2 years to perform properly in the Champions League. Not expecting you to ever win a Champions League. We've won 2 in what 20 years. So since we were taken over by Roman, and you've got 2 years to be up challenging at the Premier League summit. And if you can't finish the job off and you've developed the players, that's great. Now that the players are developed, we'll give it to somebody who's ready to finish off the job. And then we move on. So that's how I envision it when I speak about it. But I think all of these managers have got they've got problems that none of them are perfect. So
facts. I agree with that. I agree with that. So quickly before we close out, and we are going to close out, still over 260 of you lot in the building. We're at 159 likes. Get us to 180 people. Get us to 180 likes. Continue to subscribe to the channel as well. We're at 6,237 subscribers. Hey, there's over 260 of you lot. Get us to 6,250. That's what we're looking for. 30. I'm only looking for 13 subscribers out of 260. I know there's at least 13 of you lot who have not hit the subscribe button. So make sure you hit the like button. Get us up to 180 likes. That's 20 more likes. Like check 1212. You know what I'm saying? You lot hit that like button and make sure you subscribe as well. Get us to 6,250 before we close out. You mentioned we've spoken on it a lot. Next season, and you just said there. Well, we've spoken on it in bits, but you just said there, Chelsea are not going to win the league title next season, which I do agree with. What is your expectation for next season?
Top 4 minimum.
Minimum top 4.
And you need to really start hopefully pushing, top, depending on the players that come in, but minimum you need to be in the top 4. And then I would like to see us on the cusp of being spoken about in some sort of race. I don't need us to be, neck and neck to the final day, or, we're going to be one of the front runners, but I want us to be the little horse. I want us to be in ways what Man United were, but sustain it for longer, because obviously now you guys are nowhere near it, right? But with who we've brought in, with the manager that I expect us to bring in, I want us to be in that top 4 comfortably and in that top 3 conversation, knocking on the door and on the outskirts of, what's going on up there. And I think that's a fair, because for me, when I look at this team, people can be like, oh, Arsenal went through hell and heaven to get back, but we don't have Arsenal's team. We were never as shit as Arsenal until now, and now we're worse. But I look at this season as almost like what it was when we finished 10th and we won 2 titles either side. This team is not a 10th, not 11th place team. They are 11th place by performance, by metrics, by how they're doing now. But in terms of expectation, this team should not be 11th. This team should be minimum in the top 6. And that's only taking into account the fact that a lot of them came in January and it's going to take time to settle in. But if we're talking about actual quality, team should be in the top 4. So I'm not looking at this team thinking you're going from 11th to top 3, because you should never have been 11th anyway. I'm looking at this as bare minimum. It's a top 6 quality team that should be going up back into where they should be anyway at this club. That's how I'm looking at it. So whoever comes in, I hope they're looking at it the same way. If they're looking to get into the top 7, then their ambition is in the mud. Do you know what I mean?
Crazy. Trophies, obviously, Premier League. You've mentioned Champions League. You're not, well, you probably won't be in.
I'll never demand it. It's just a dream.
You never demand it.
Yeah.
Say you do make. Let's say you do make Europa League by by some miracle this season, or Conference League. Would you look at either of those two to win?
If we're not going to make Europa League, I don't think.
You don't think you'll make Europa?
I really wish I could say that we will, but I have a feeling we're not going to make it now.
Okay.
I think it's just too much to ask for. And I look at Brighton, I look at Newcastle, and I look at the teams above us, and they're very good teams. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna budge lightly. We'd have to beat Brighton when we play them. Are we gonna beat Brighton when we play them? Who knows? They're a good team. They could easily beat us. If we get Conference League, honestly, I'll probably just, brother. I don't even want to watch that. I'm not even gonna lie.
You don't know watch alongs for Conference League.
I'll do it, but
I'll jump on the channel. You know what I'm saying?
I really don't want to watch Conference League.
We can run them live streams together, man.
You mocking us in the Conference League.
I'm not mocking. I'm there to support.
You're not here. You're not going to be there to. You're going to be running jokes.
You're
going to be running jokes as we come up against Microsoft Excel and whatnot. Nah. It's gonna be a long day.
I'm there to why do people always think the worst of me, man? I'm there, you know what I'm saying, to support my brother, you know what I'm saying? Live stream. You may not be too knowledgeable on the teams you are playing. So therefore it's kind of like, we can just bounce conversation off of each other. And also I can have conversation with the chat as well. We may unearth a new star. You know what I'm saying?
If we make the Conference League, just play the youngsters. Just play the youngsters. Honestly, just play the youngsters.
Man. We get to see some of the Cobham graduates. There you go. The next Mounts.
Just play the
Rices, Tammy Abrahams. You know what I'm saying? The Tamoris, Lewis Halls. You know what I'm saying?
But the domestic cups, go and get those, man. Go and get them.
Domestic cups you're looking at.
Can't be losing no more Wembley finals, man. It's 5 in a row. It's getting embarrassing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Is it 7th for Conference League? Yeah, because it's 5th and 6th for Europa.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right.
So basically, finish 6th or finish 8th.
You're saying no 7th.
Yeah. Just finish 6th or 8th.
The way you and Liverpool fans who I talk to are like, nah, I don't want to finish 7th. I don't want Conference League. I really don't.
Do you know what? I don't want to have to cover it. I'm being selfish. I don't want to have to cover it. I'll cover Europa League. Yeah. No problem. We've won it twice. I got enough respect for that competition. I'll cover that. If we're in Conference League, I have to cover Conference League. Yeah. I'd prefer to just cover Champions League next season and cover Europa League. I'm covering I'm covering Champions League regardless. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to do watch-alongs for the other teams. If we're in the Europa League, great. I'll cover that. I don't want to have to cover Conference League because that's mad. Do you know what I mean?
However, with Conference League, what it could do, because you already do have a massive following as it is, you know what I'm saying? We've waxed lyrical about it. If you are playing Conference Leagues teams, there is a chance you then reach out to a whole new market. And fans,
the Bulgarians and the
Estonians, Armenians, Moldovas, all those you never know because their team won't really get covered and they get the big gargantuan Chelsea coming into town. Yeah, that's major.
When I look at my analytics for nationalities and where everybody's from, we'll definitely be up in it.
Just saying.
Yeah.
We could do that because they're not used to being covered, you know what I'm saying, by someone like Matisse. They're not used to playing the Chelsea. Now everyone knows who they are. Now when you doing your thumbnails, you go and find their badge and find their PNG. It's like, who's this? I did it this year with Sheriff. You know what I'm saying? And who else did we play? Who was in our group? Sheriff. Who was the other one? I remember you lot in the chat. Let me know. This guy laughing. I mean, you serious? Sheriff. Who else? You know what I'm saying? When Ronaldo sued, the whole ground sued. I was saying it was crazy after he scored a penalty. Who was it? Who's the other team in our group? Let me know in the chat, people. Not Sociedad, the other one, Chris. I know Real Sociedad. It was Sheriff, Sociedad. Who was it? Omonia, Sofia, you're a real one.
Oh, yeah, Ammonia. Yeah, Eumonia.
See?
Eumonia, yeah.
New teams, man. That's you. You know what I'm saying? You can branch. I'm sure in the Europa League, I branched out to a whole new market.
Sounding like a sickness, do you know what I'm saying? Madness.
Yo, Ed, you're right. He says, much appreciated for the kind words. He says, flawless is gold. Even found silver lining and ended up in the Conference League. You love to see. That's what you have to do. And I'll be there to support, whether you need me on stream or in the comment section. I got you, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy's just, not having it.
Hey, Jesus. God, I love Jesus.
See, I said it there. I forgot about Sheriffs.
You played
Not
those
this
teams
one
in the
last time.
Europa League. You played those teams in the Europa League. What the hell does the Conference League have? No, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
See, well, we'll remember Sheriff and Omonia forever. You get what I'm saying? And that, like now, next time they play someone, say they play Chelsea in a Conference League. Let's say hypothetically they do, or Liverpool in the Conference League or the Premier League. Be like, oh, they're the team we face United. Omonia, they're the team we face United. You know what I'm saying? Gotta try and reach out and branch out, man, to new markets.
Pneumonia is what I'm not trying to catch.
Yeah, we ain't trying to catch new, man. This is Omonia. You know what I'm saying? This is Omonia.
I hope you man fall out the top 4. I ain't gonna lie. You man fall out the top 4. Let Newcastle and Brighton get it, and you man come play Pneumonia again.
Nah. We good because we gonna win the Europa League anyway. So you know,
you man come and play Pneumonia, man. See, as you enjoy all these little trips, you come and play these,
the champs. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want it. You don't want to
do my time. You know what I'm saying? I did my time.
You haven't done your time enough, man.
Why have I not done my time?
Unless you win the Europa League, you haven't done your time, man.
Why have I not done my time? I had to cover Omonia, Sheriff. You know how hard it was finding players to put on the thumbnail.
Man, I'm calling him Omega 3. Omega.
Like, yeah, Sophia, you right. You know what I'm saying? You know what time it is. You know how hard it was finding players playing for Omonia and Sheriff. Especially the first time round. Before we had played them. When we played them in the second game in the groups, it was fine because there was pictures. You know what I'm saying? I had to Google. I had to go onto Facebook because Google was not popping up with players for Omonia and Sheriff. And then I had to double check it was players who were still currently playing. It wasn't old pictures. I'd have to make sure on top of that, the quality was half decent because sometimes it can be tough. You know what I'm saying? And you get them 240p pictures. Like, that's the issue. The struggles we go through.
This is what they want me to go through.
Yeah, man. It's character building, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this season's been character building.
Character building will not be playing in Europe at all. Trust me. Being in Europe.
You don't want one game a week, man.
I do.
More, man. Watch-alongs, man.
No, it's fine.
You might not. The people want to see you twice a week. Am I lying, people? Do you not want to see
no, because I do all the games anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, but they want you invested emotionally in terms of because
I'll be invested emotionally. Don't worry.
You will not be because it's not your beloved Chelsea.
I'll find a way. I'll find a way to be emotionally invested every game.
You did Barcelona, Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? That's not the same as doing. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Chelsea
Southampton game.
Yeah, Madrid. I'll learn, bruv. I'll be speaking Spanish next season. I'll learn Spanish. You better learn Chinese. You know what I'm saying? Like they say.
Better learn Chinese, buddy. You know what I'm saying? That's Sophia said here. You know, said I had the same problem, flawless, with my watch-alongs. The struggle was real. I need Champions League back as enough is enough. Yeah, them Europa League games were just awful. You know what I'm saying? Them group games. Oh my God, they were awful. But yeah, man, Ma will get a reason to travel to Kazakhstan. I've already told Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I know the bridge. I know it'll be easier to get tickets because you lot won't really be up for it. I will go to Stamford Bridge if you lot are in the Conference League, bro. And them home games.
Them Conference League home games. There'll be nobody there, bro.
I'll be there, man.
The amount of gaps in Stamford Bridge, it will be, bro. There'll be gaps everywhere. It will be long, gaps everywhere. Gaps like in Expressions' mouth with them teeth. You know what I'm saying? Shots fired.
That was Mara in it. Don't involve me in this. I was saying that was Mara in it. I'm just saying I'm not involved. That's one man I want zero smoke with is Expressions. Zero.
No, because he keeps sending for me, man. Every time I run up a best of enemies, I've seen he sent for me again. I'm like, nah, man. He sent for me I think he sent for me in the last episode because of this whole Lampard thing. Or no, he'll probably send for me today. He sent for me last week. Just keep sending for me. So I have to send back.
Yeah, fair enough then. Fair enough. Before we close out, I'm gonna ask you this. Is there anything you want to talk about Chelsea related that you've not spoken about or you want to get off your chest?
Well, I mean, all I want to say is that, you know, we'll be back. We'll be back. It's a tough time right now. Do you know what I mean? We're going through it, but we'll be back. I think next season, as long as we appoint the right person, we do our due diligence. We have the summer we need to have. We get rid of the players we need to get rid of. We'll be back. Hopefully not in the Conference League, Europa League or nothing. And yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, enjoy this. Enjoy this season. If you like running banner on Chelsea, enjoy this season because I can promise you, you'll never see anything like this again. You'll never. What do you can believe?
All right, first, I'm saying that's fair enough. Fair enough. Let them know where they can find you. You know what I'm saying? Always great talking to my brother Matisse. Eddie, let them know where they can find you, what you got coming up. Like today, the rest of the week, you know what I'm saying? For the rest of the year, big moves. Like I said, I see you on 5, you know what I'm saying? We on Ferdinand's channel with Danny Murphy, obviously doing your thing on DR Sports, also on the Big Six show. Also, as well, like I stated at the very start, Battle of the North, which if you lot love that show, you gotta thank Matisse because he was the one who put that together. He put that quartet together that works with myself, him,
bangs every week.
Yeah, it's the show I get asked about the most. I'm involved in all the time. People always consistently bring up Battle of the North to me.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, man, 100%.
I love that show, man. I love that show. MAH, 3 letters. Do you know what I mean? Find it on YouTube. That's where the content's going to be coming. There's meant to be a FIFA stream later on today as well. I'm meant to be playing the members. I'm gonna have to set that nice and early so you guys can queue up for that. Got the Ethernet cable now, so I just need to connect it. But a preview's also got a drop as well for the Wolves game. So I'll drop the preview and then tomorrow watch along, and then obviously Liverpool Arsenal will do the watch along as well. So yeah, those are the 2 watch alongs for the weekend. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Liverpool Arsenal, if you want emotional attachment and investment, you're about to get it because this is the last straw. And you know what I mean by that, Flawless. It's the last straw.
Hey, that Liverpool Arsenal game is going to be good. It really is. It really is going to be good. Make sure you subscribe to Matisse's channel. The link's in the title, people. So you click the link in the title. It opens up a new tab. Hit the subscribe button, and you can find all his socials over there. Follow him on Twitter as well. Make sure you're following him on the gram. Big up to Sophia who says, big up lads, great show. I hope you lot enjoyed this special as well. And she says it here, I always get excited about Battle of the North, always on my weekly calendar. Love that. You know what I'm saying? Love that. In regards to Sarcasm City TV, obviously the specials, people, for those that are asking about it, someone asked me earlier about get Troops on. Troops did a special last week. You know what I'm saying? I had Rants on as well. Kendall was on. Lee Gunner was on. Matisse has been on. And that was just in this. We've had previous. Daps has been on. Speaking of the Battle of the North, we had Hassam on. Who else is the Goonies done one as well?
Saeed as well.
Saeed did one as well. Yeah, in the last I forgot. So there is a playlist for him on the channel, people. Sarcasm City TV specials, which I will keep running, and I just do them occasionally. I gotta keep them special, so that's why I don't do them on a regular basis, people, because then it will lose impact. In regards to the channel, we're back 4:30 p.m. people, myself and Eddie, Manchester United show, Mandem United podcast. We're talking all things Manchester United, so that's 4:30 p.m. and then the Manchester United Chelsea Spurs show is back. Mandem United, Ballers at the Bridge, talking at Tottenham Talk. Myself, Surfer, Peter and Jez, talking all things Manchester United, Chelsea and Spurs. More so the London clubs. There's a lot going on with Chelsea, as me and Marv just discussed there for pretty much 2 hours. Also with Spurs as well. Upcoming live stream schedule, make sure you check it out. Then, of course, Saturday, I'll be doing the early kick, which is Manchester United versus Everton. And then Sunday, you will get the Liverpool versus Arsenal watch along over on the Sarcasm City TV Twitch, that is. And then, boom, obviously, to end your weekend, as always, at midnight, the Sarcasm City Sports Q&A. But all the shows I just mentioned are all on the upcoming live stream schedule here on the YouTube. Go follow the Twitch as well, because you get separate content over there. The playoffs start soon. NBA play-ins and playoffs start soon, so watch-alongs over there. Champions League watch-alongs back over there next week. And obviously, non-Manchester United Premier League watch-alongs and fan calling shows. But yeah, man, Matt, love for jumping on, man. Every single time.
Pleasure, brother.
Man.
Legend.
Enjoy
big up the chat as well. Pleasure.
Yeah, man. Large up the chat, man. We're gonna close this out. And this has been the side. Actually, let me see who's if anyone's live, I'll raid someone. If not, I'm just gonna send you lot to the Mandem United podcast to hit the like button still. But I'm sure somebody will be live. It's an early start, people. Look at this. Surprise for you lot. Surprise for you lot. Let's use live. Is anyone live? Shit, no one is live. Crazy.
Bro, man, I'm sleeping, fam.
Yeah, I'm surprised, man, that no one's live. This is mad. All right, cool. I'm just gonna send you lot to the Mandem United podcast for 4:30. Make sure you just hit the like button on it there. But this has been the Sarcasm City TV special with special guest Matisse live on the Sarcasm City TV YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in.